Imagine you're an engineer at Honda in the late 1990s, riding the high of the NSX and leaving no possibility unexplored for the future of rear-wheel drive, VTEC-laced manual transmission machines. You've got a pop in your step, you're avoiding the cracks in the sidewalk, hell, you're even just thankful to be in this position. The S2000 is born. Your sweat drips down on the new F20C, a bespoke engine for this car, an engine you spent the last 12 months turning wrenches on just to squeeze that extra 100 RPM out of to hit that 9,000. And then some guy comes along and decides that all your hard work in engineering wasn't worth the effort. He tears out the F20C and he pulls a transverse front-wheel drive 4-cylinder from a luxury sedan and stuffs it in to the S2000. Best part is, he's satisfied. He actually likes the work that he's done. Let's see how good it is.
Hi, my name is Dylan. This is my AP1 S2000, which is powered by a K24 out of a TSX.
Why?
Why? From my own personal history, back with rotaries, I've blown up multiple engines and finding replacements is not super easy. So when I moved onto this car, I wanted to make sure that was a case that I could easily replace the motor. And for those that do know, that the stock S2000 motor is extremely difficult to rebuild, or in some cases impossible. So I felt like this was the next best step, to have an engine that you can get from a junkyard for 1,500 bucks versus a used motor for $8,000 to $10,000. I could buy 10 K24s for one F20.
Yeah, when you put it like that. So as you can see, it's a hardtop. This is a replica Mugen hardtop, Mugen. And it's creaking a little bit over bumps, so ignore that. Now, before we continue, I want to take a second to thank BetterHelp for this paid partnership in today's video. Whether you're content riding the wave of your routine or looking to switch things up a bit but just don't know where to start, therapy can be a really powerful tool to get started, and that's why today I'm talking about BetterHelp. Look, we all know someone in our lives who's gone through rough times before, but it's tough to deny things aren't always easy in our own lives, despite how much we try to ignore it. For me, sometimes just having a third-party perspective helps me keep a level head through all the uncertainty that life throws at me, despite how confident I might feel. I know my perspective as a video creator, juggling shooting, editing, scheduling, isn't the norm, but I feel we all struggle to some extent just accepting help, and it doesn't have to be that way. BetterHelp just makes it easy to connect you to a professional therapist who will listen and, most importantly, fit your needs and personality. Whether you're traveling or just hanging out at home, you can make a schedule that best fits your life and reach out how you want, whether it be over messaging, video, or a call. After answering just a few questions on their site, you'll be matched to a credentialed therapist as soon as possible. Best part is, if you don't feel like you connect with your therapist, you can switch it up at any time and find someone who does. So if you think you might benefit from a therapy session, even if that just means having someone to vent to, you can use our link in the description, betterhelp.com/roadsuntraveled. And in there, you'll find 10% off your first month as well. Now back to the S2000. All right, so obviously I'm being a little bit sarcastic. Putting a K24 in an S2000 is far from ruining the car. It just seems, on the surface, if you're not a Honda person, like a little bit of an odd decision. And immediately my mind goes, hey, well, the AP1, 2-liter, obviously really high revving, 9,000 RPM, not a lot of torque, but a whole ton of revs. AP2, a little bit more torque, a little less revs. So a natural progression from that. Here's an AP3. This is a 2.4 liter, obviously K24, with more torque than any S2000 came with factory and lower down. So I believe for the K24, this one's out of a 2007 actually, Acura TSX. Peak torque is around 4,500 RPM, so a lot lower down in the power band. On the flip side, the K24 never begs you to rev it out like an AP1. It's content to punch you in the seat at 4,500, which is exactly where Dylan set the VTEC cam crossover. And yeah, it's been a while since I've driven a stock S2000, but the K24 has this relentless buzz to it that never lets up, carrying vibrations through the whole car, the steering wheel, the shifter, the seat, everything. And not the good kind either, but in my experience, this is just what Hondas do.
I mean, it's actually pushing me back into my seat quite hard. I mean, think about it. A brand new Civic Si has the same amount of power as a 2005 TSX did. Revs so quickly. Even just a taste on the street here, I can only imagine what this thing is like on the track. So progressive with these tires in the back too. 255s all around, NK wheels, 9.5-inch wide wheels all the way around. I mean, like I said, no rubbing, but there's enough, just enough suspension travel and feel in the tires to feel when it's going to step out. Like the front end, at least here on the street, zero understeer.
Combine a quick steering rack, however, with a back end that you feel you need to catch with countersteer anytime it steps out is a recipe for disaster. Just like an MR2, don't lift off and don't overcorrect.
This car is mostly a track car. It does see some street driving, but it's mostly used for just track. When I bought the car, it had the swap pretty recently done, so it was mostly just trying to work out kinks. That's kind of the way it is, and it's kind of to be expected, but now it feels pretty dialed and it should be in a good spot. So the wing on the back is a 9 Lives racing wing. It's pretty new. It mounts to your fenders, or the rear quarter panel actually, but they call it a fender mount. It's a stock S2000 header, which you actually have to cut one of the runners and then clock it a certain way to get it to fit, but it does fit. And you do need a K-series flange. The intake manifold, you just need an adapter plate, and the F20C or F22C intake manifold bolts right up. The ECU is a K-Pro from, I think, an RSX Type S. Engine mount is aftermarket, obviously, and it has an adapter plate to run the stock S2000 transmission, but you can still use the same drive shaft, the same diff. Pretty much everything else is stock except for this S2000 clutch and you need an aftermarket flywheel to make the adapter work because it needs the extra space.
Yeah.
It has an RSX Type S oil pump, so we can rev it to a little bit above 8,000 and it'll take it just fine. So,
do you want to tell the people about your cardboard here?
My special cardboard is for my thermostat. That's a low temperature thermostat, so when you drive it on the street in colder climates, that it becomes undercooled and my fuel economy goes really bad. It's also not great for the engine too to not be fully warmed up. So that is for street driving, and then when you go to the track, I take this out.
S2000's not known for the greatest steering feel because it is obviously an electric power steering rack, but it is so direct. Sounds like it's raining. Shit's gonna put me to sleep. Oh, there we go. It's just such a balanced car. None of that is gone. And the upside, parts are cheap. The engine itself is cheap. If you go on eBay right now, you could pick up a K24. Heck, even just go to your local junkyard, find a crash TSX, 1,500 bucks, 2,000 bucks, right? You look for an F20C or an F22, you're talking between $5,000 and $10,000 for one of those. Kind of makes sense. I hate to say it, but you know, K-swap everything, including the car that Honda spent years and years engineering a bespoke engine for. So light on its feet. Shifter is light. I mean, perfect shifter. Such an easy car to drive. This is what happens though. You look at the first gen NSX, I'm just thinking about it now. Those V6 engines are great, but don't expect to just pay pedestrian Honda prices for parts on those cars. You're going to pay a premium. And it's super tempting, even going down in cylinder count with the example of the NSX to a case swap. A lot of people do that just to save money, especially when they know they're gonna beat on it. It's not a Honda if you don't hit the rev limiter.
When I got it originally, I planned to turbo it, but right now, no, because I like driving the car. I feel like if I turbo it, I open up a can of worms that I don't want to necessarily have to go back on. Given that if you did turbo it, you would make some pretty crazy power pretty easily, but it's better to have it as a car just to get seat time and to drive.
Yeah.
And
I think you're the exception. Most people that are just getting into driving don't do what you're doing.
No.
And it ends poorly.
Yeah, I think for me it's from experience. The best way to get faster is to actually just drive the car. You can put a million parts on the car, but eventually they all wear out. But if you invest in the seat time, you get to keep that forever, as long as you live, right? So that's the way I see it. And the worst feeling is usually when you go to the track and all your buddies are driving and you're the guy sitting out because your stuff's blown up.
Yeah, I love that. Drive the car and
just enjoy it.
Yeah, rather than just stacking on power and problems.
Yep.
Smart. Awesome, Dylan. Thanks for bringing the car out.
Awesome.
Verdict. Yeah, it's a great swap, especially if you're just going to beat on the car. And as a street car, I would argue to say it almost that's copyright, Dr. Dre. It almost, I don't know, this would almost convince me to swap an AP2. The AP2 has added torque, but this is like, it's noticeable. And yeah, I have not driven an S2000 in a couple of years, but it's absolutely, for a street car, light to light, way quicker. So has it lost a little bit of its original 9,000 RPM charm? Sure, so maybe if you have a perfectly running S2000, keep it as is. Thanks guys for watching. If you haven't already, subscribe. And if you want to get notified when our new merch is going live on the website, hit the link in the description and you'll be the first to know. We'll see you next time.